very special night. Welcome to Operation Resurrect on this Friday, September 13th. We are happy to have you and happy to get this evening started. Now, before we get the festivities going, I do want to make sure that our thoughts, our prayers are with Dr. Martha Evans this evening, who would certainly be here if she could. But we're going to have a wonderful event in her honor, in her absence, and make sure that we have a good time for Dr. Martha Evans. So I just wanted to make sure that I recognized her before we got things started. I also want to recognize the elected officials in the room. Allow me to welcome Lillian Brock. Please stand up, Lillian Brock. Coming. Thank you so much. Any other elected officials in the room that I may have missed, please stand. Well, once again, you all look absolutely gorgeous this evening, and we're going to get to this
with you about what life was like then compared to now. For myself, growing up as a young male and a teenager in Kennedy Park, there was a lot of drugs, alcohol. We called the winos. The winos would have a burn barrel going up near the tracks, and we would kind of stand around with them while they're drinking alcohol and just listening to their stories. But also, I didn't know it then, but looking back now, they were setting an example for the young that were growing up in that area. And now looking back at what happened with my friends, there were about 10 of us that grew up together. Out of the 10 of us, only 4 got out of that neighborhood without either going to jail, or some of them are dead now. But moving forward, we moved to Simpsonville to get away from the crime so that my siblings would not have to go through what my older sister and I went through. When I came home from the Air Force and joined the Sheriff's Office, my first beat assignment was my own neighborhood. So that was very strange, but I noticed very few of my friends were the same. They had basically become indoctrinated into that lifestyle, that culture of the drugs, the alcohol, the prostitution, just some lawlessness. I appreciate what Pastor Evans said, Mike, because looking back now, here in 2019, that area is completely different. The store, I call it the store, it used to be called JJJ's Food Mart, where the church is at. It used to be one of the highest crime areas in that district. Your drug dealers, they would stand on that corner, and the prostitutes would be on that corner. Now it's a place of God, and I appreciate that. And that could not be accomplished without people like Pastor Evans and his wife. So, sure, it's fully backed by Sheriff Johnny McBrown, and I apologize he couldn't make it tonight. But he sent a letter to the Evans, and I'm not sure if you can read it, but basically in that letter, it states out that he's more than willing to put the full support of the Sheriff's Office behind this project. I'm the captain of public affairs, so I'm a board member. I also signed for the project. And anything that we can do, Sheriff's Office resources, we will do the best we can to support it. And I just encourage everyone else to reach out to your friends, support Pastor Evans and his wife, either in person, financially, just whatever you can do to affect the youth. We can save one is worth the time. Thank you, Ryan, and bless night.
Thank you, Cafeterias Hall. Now we're going to continue to share some of the impacts that Shore has on our community, and really how the efforts that we put forth here can not just affect tomorrow, but can affect generations ahead. So we're going to share a success story here. It's not my own. Please help me in joining and welcoming Ryan James up to share his story. Give me a hand. You look sharp, brother. Oh, no, you're better, my man.
Good evening. My name is Ryan James. I am an attorney here in Greenville. I migrated from New Jersey to the New York City area, and I have an uncle here in town who is the reason for me being here. You might know him, you might not. Theo Mitchell, who was my mother's stepbrother. And when I was in law school, I came here to visit. I had been here previously as a child, but obviously my recollection wasn't as profound. And to have the opportunity to come here and essentially visit your backyard. I realized right away that this was an opportunity that was calling for me, and something that I decided was in my best interest to pursue as a new home. You know, growing up, my dad always told me, always respect someone else's backyard, because you'd hate to find out how they treat you if you didn't. And so moving here was unique for me, because I learned very quickly that although the customs and the culture from where I'm from may seem different, we're all people, right? We all have a common goal in success and living life to the fullest. My story is not exactly that of what Pastor Evans has preached throughout her teachings. I was born to two parents in Northeast New Jersey, both of whom worked in municipal government, and their goal for my brother and I was to ascend and, as we would say, make it, right? Get out of the community. When I was 12 years old, we relocated to a little suburban town outside of New York City, South Orange, New Jersey. And in that, I took the initiative myself to want certain things in life that perhaps my parents didn't have, but certainly I was interested in having for myself. I could see my future as a child. And so I pursued those endeavors. My first job out of college was on Wall Street as an investment banker. And I realized not a lot of people get that opportunity. I was plucked out of my best friend's mom's bar by one of the patrons. And for me, the natural sort of thinking was, take advantage, because you might not get this opportunity again. But I grew up with a lot of young men and women in my little suburban town, and we moved from a pretty rough neighborhood, where there was a realization that some of them may never have that opportunity. So, and growing up with my parents the way I did, my mother was a camp director, my father was a executive assistant to the mayor of Newark. We had a political background, Theo obviously being a senator here, but they spent a lot of their time giving to others. In fact, my mom would wake up at 6 a.m. every day, make sure my brother and I got to school, and then spent the rest of her day catering to someone else's kids. You can see where there's a small bit of envy in me. But it was who she was. On Sundays, after working 70, 80 hours a week, my dad would load up the trailer and off he went to the football field. He was the president of the Newark Pop Warner Football League. So for 6 hours a day on Sunday, instead of he and I going to watch my beloved New York Giants play, now that laughter, I know what that is. That Raider fan in the back there, I know what that is. We're struggling right now, I get it. But he would spend 6, 7 hours on his Sunday instead of being with my brother and I, developing someone else's kin, someone else's children. And as I said, it's easy for me to feel a little bit of jealousy in that, but at the same time, I realized the magnitude. What it meant for those young men who were the players and the young women who were the cheerleaders to have an avenue, to have an outlet, to have a resource that was available to them that otherwise would not have been available. I was introduced to Pastor Evans through a young lady with the Chamber of Commerce. I don't know what she saw in me. Good looks and charm doesn't always cut. But she felt like, I need you to meet this woman because her vision is embodied in you. And the first time I sat down with her, she preached to me this idea she had, where she wanted to take young children from her community and give them opportunities that they otherwise wouldn't have. Now, as you all know, a lot of communities surrounding downtown, and let's face it, when they put the pictures of Greenville on the map, New York Times, USA Today, it's always about downtown. What they don't tell you is that there are communities surrounding downtown Greenville that are distressed, underprivileged, underserved, lack resources, and resources, financial, education, socioeconomic. And it was then that I got to learn about her program, where she was, as she would say, bridging the learning gap. And she would start to tell me about these success stories that she's had, how she would take an individual who was reading at a level 3 to 4 grades below where he should be, and in 30 hours, closing that gap. I'm blessed to say that we have here today 2 individuals who, I'm not going to tell their story, I'll allow them to tell their story, that have been in the program and have family in the program, and they'll impress upon you exactly what it is that Pastor Evans has done for her community and what she strives to do moving forward. Make no mistake about this, folks, and I know Dr. Evans. She may not be here physically, but I promise you, she's here spiritually. Amen. Everything about what she wants is in this room, and it will continue from tonight and beyond. So I'd like to welcome up Alexis and Angelo Mack to give us their tales of the successes of Pastor Martha Evans. Come on up, Angelo. You can share the stage with me. I'm going to get out the way.
Good evening. My name is Alexis Peterson, and Dr. Martha Evans, she's my grandmother. And I had the learning gap and division. I go to medical tech right now, and I'm majoring for nursing. And I need to close that learning gap because we can't do nursing if we don't know division. That's like one of the major things. So my grandmother, she helped me with the division because I knew simple division, but I didn't know decimals and how to do the other types of division. So she helped me, and now it's closed, and I'm really good at division. And just pray for me because these classes are hard. Thank you.
My name is Angelo Mack. We have got to know Dr. Evans, but I work at George 969 in Greenwood, which is a 3-minute from here. And she had a show that she does at 12 p.m. on Sundays, and I produced her show. And she talked about the Evans Learning Center. I have 2 nephews, one of which who have been in the boys' home for past year. I just got out in February, went back into the school system and got into more trouble. And so when I heard Dr. Evans talking about the learning center, I asked her if there's something she can do so I can help these boys, because I wanted to see them grow up to be men in this society, to be able to make a living and not end up in the system. You know what I mean by that? And she said, sure, you just bring them on over here. And she said, I'll meet them on Saturday. Bring them to my learning system center. So I took them over there, and she gave them tests, both of them. And the older one is 16, the younger is 15. Well, the older one tested their reading at a 2nd grade level. And then the other one tested at a 6th grade level. She took them through the program, and they are doing a lot better now. And with 2 of them, some still will help them be able to get up to where they need to be. But her program is great, and if you know someone who needs some help, she loves helping young people to see them be able to be successful in life. And if they don't get rid of that learning gap, along with my nephew, part of the problem is, part of why they get into trouble is because they feel so far behind. They don't want people to know that, and so they feel they have to cut up and get in trouble. But thank the Lord, the past 6 to 8 months, they both have been out of trouble and doing very well with Dr. Evans. She took them the past summer when and brought into the church, into the learning center, and they didn't have computers at home for a little bit. We got them set up eventually, but she allowed them to come into the learning center and use the two computers that she has to do the program. It's a great program. If you know someone young who's struggling and needs some help, but you don't want them to get out of this life like older than 16. So he could be in the school system at 17, but we want to keep him, get him graduated. And so we're working very hard with him. I thank Dr. Evans for what she had done for the both of them. And they listened to her well. Dr. Evans' husband talked with both of them too, and told them this is what you guys need to be doing. And they've been doing very well. So we're thankful for that. I am thankful for Dr. Evans and the Learning Center and what she has done for these two boys. As I continue to work with them and get them graduated and get them to where they can live a decent life in this society. Thank you.
And as we've been hearing about this program, if anyone's ever run a race from behind, we know how distressing that can be, right? How demoralizing it can be when you always feel like you're 1, 2, maybe even 3 steps behind. That's why this program that Dr. Evans has created is so important to close that gap and give these kids a competitive chance. Because all you need is a chance. And Dr. Evans would be here to talk about the program herself, but who better to fill in than her grandson, Octavius Evans, who's going to join us now and share a little bit more details on what the program's all about. Octavius.
Hey, how you doing today? So, of course, I'm here talking in place of my grandmother, and one thing I want to really just dive into and reiterate is that everything we do is from the heart, and there's no other ulterior motives or anything else. We work and strive to help these kids and these inner city kids in these bad situations make it out. My father, Sherwood Jr., who was killed and slain in the very community that we're trying to help. Really, just that notion and that thought, just thinking about it right now, that's crazy that my grandmother, because she could have easily been spiteful, could have easily been like, oh, I'm not helping these people. They took my baby away from me. And just seeing her still want to help out, still want to make a difference. It gave me no excuse to have any type of hatred towards the people around me, or any excuses for why I can't succeed, or why I can't forgive and help others. For the last 30 years, she has been closing reading gaps, closing gaps in math, English, any subject. And we've done that with an amazing staff, but most importantly, like I said, with just having compassion. And that compassion only comes from Christ. That's where it comes from. It comes from God and Christ. Without Him, we're not able to do what we do. One of our biggest mantras is quality over quantity. You have some people that do it for the paycheck, and they just trying to give you busy work. They're trying to keep you preoccupied. We don't do that. We really sit down with our kids or our adults and really build that relationship, that intimacy. Because we really want to see them progress, really want to see them go out into the world and be successful. And that's our primary mission, is to close these gaps and see these people be great in life. To add on to the quality of quantity, she always thinks, and my grandma loves these 5 C's or 5 B's. That's her thing, okay? So her thing is the 5 C's. So it's consciousness, compassion, covenant, commitment, and community. Those things are basically the pillars to our program and how we want to reach each and every one of the people that comes in contact with us. close it out. We have a little Channel News 7 video of our actual program, a migratory program that we do during the summer. But this year, thank God, we got it all year round, so we can keep on serving these unbelievable kids and just try to make a difference in their lives. Steve Fair is here. And while he's getting that together, my grandmother, don't feel too bad. I'm trying to tell you, my grandmother is a strong, wonderful woman. I've seen her today at the hospital. Unbelievable spirits, up tempo. I'm like, wow. If that would be me, I'd be like, oh, just take me away. You know what I'm saying? Like just disadvantage.
Up to speed in core learning areas.
7 News' Stephanie Warman explains. Here at Northwest Elementary School, they are closing the learning gap for dozens of migratory children here in the upstate. Now the coordinator wants to expand the program and is challenging other school districts to take on the initiative.
What's the thing say? The same class or the same one lane?
With the help of tutors, these children are improving their reading and comprehension skills, growing their understanding of science, and working on their math. Core areas that lay the foundation for a student's ability to succeed in school. But many of these children have fallen behind in those subjects because they don't stay at one school.
Most of these children have moved about 4 or 5 times during the school year.
Some of the kids that we do have that come in, they speak little to no English, they have trouble with their math, and we're talking kids that's in the 8th grade on like the 1st grade level.
That's where the migrant education program comes in. A team identifies students from pre-K to high school and places them in a program where they receive up to 30 hours of one-on-one instructional time.
A lot of kids, they'll struggle with something and they'll cry and cry and cry, and all that pain seems like it's worth it. They finally get it and their face just spark and just light up.
Program Director Martha Evans says through federal and state funding, they are able to tutor nearly 300 children a year despite their status.
We do not ask that question at all. Every child deserves a chance to learn, and every child can learn.
But these tutors want to reach more children of migrant families in the upstate.
Particularly Craven County, we would love for them to be a model for this state.
Evans tells 7 News it can be done if more school leaders jump on board and simply give them the resources.
I think it would be wonderful if every district would be able to offer a facility in the summer or in the fall as well.
The migratory education program is in 8 school districts both in Cherokee and Spartanburg County. Reporting in Gaffney, Stephanie Gorman, 7 News.
And Evans tells 7 News that the program also offers GED services for parents and referral services for migratory families.
Yes,
All right, so
okay, I got you.
All right, so basically to close out, really we envision this is the first annual Resurrection, Operation Resurrection event, and we hope to keep on building and building and building upon this minor success and build on to greater successes. Each year, keep pushing, keep going. Even though my grandma seems like she's out of commission right now, she be bad. I promise you, she a bad lady. She bad. She bad. She got us on our side. She got us on our side. We can do anything, and I really do believe that because we do it for the right reasons, and we love each and every person that we work with. Thank y'all so much.
Davis, thank you. Not only is it important to close these gaps, not only is it important for these kids to have a chance, but when they have that chance, literacy financially can help them pass on what they've learned and set up their families and their future generations for success. So on behalf of Roger, who'd like to talk about financial literacy this evening, I'd like to welcome Evelyn Butler up to share with you some words.
Good evening, everyone. I'm excited to be here to be part of what Dr. Evans has started. I've known Dr. Evans for 3 or 4 years, well, 2 or 3 years, I don't want to push that, 2 or 3 years now, and I am astounded by the good work that she does. If you ask Rod what he does, you can see he's the managing partner of New York Life. New York Life is the #1 life insurance company in the United States. You can look that up on something called the Comdex Index. So it is written, in fact. Rod will say that until a month ago, he was the only managing partner who looked like him in all of New York Life. And that is 116 offices around the country. His day job, he would say, is to elevate the profile of New York Life in our community, to hire trusted advisors, and to provide daily leadership. That's what he would say his daily job is. His night, he is committed to closing the wealth gap and raising the financial literacy of the community. He would say that the problem in the community is not because of crime, non-nuclear households, or even no education. The problem in the families are financial. He would say that at New York Life, we're committed to elevating the level of financial literacy, and by so doing, we can close the wealth gap and change the financial trajectory of our people. So how do we do that? Well, at New York Life, we commit to a give first servant leadership. We do that by donating our time, our talent, and our treasure. Doesn't matter that you, in what order you give that, as long as you do. We commit to help individuals, families, businesses, faith-based organizations, institutions, and nonprofit organizations that share our vision to leverage the tools, rules, and strategies that the majority population has used for centuries to build wealth, to create wealth, and to transfer that wealth to future generations. What we call intergenerational wealth. So our mission is not only to promote financial literacy, but to create legacies for the purpose of establishing tax-free transferable wealth. And so I'll say that again. We want to establish tax-free transferable wealth. Remember, it's not what you have, keep, which is important. So, Rod asked me to fill his size 13 boots, which I can't do. But I hope you know how committed we are at New York Life to changing the financial direction of this community. Thank you very much. Have a wonderful evening.
Them to prepare for that moving forward. So it's certainly something that's important when we talk about the future generations and passing down generational wealth, if you would. At this time, I'd like to welcome up David Smythe, who's going to talk more about the Shore Initiative as well as the bedtime store. Am I saying that right? Getting the bedtime store?
Yes, thank you. Okay, got this mic going? All right, well, my name is Dave Smythe. I'm a professional engineer, if you can believe it. Everybody needs an engineer. So that's what I do for sure. Volunteer, but they have me here tonight to tell you a bedtime story. And my story is found in the ancient scriptures. It's about a young Israeli farmer. And I chose this story because it's really inspiring. It contains some incredible dialogue and it's got a lot of vision in it. So here's the story. Israel was dominated for a period of 7 years by a fascinating and cruel people. I think I'm right for the speaker. It's better. Whoa. Anyway, they were dominated for 7 years by a fascinating and cruel people. They were called the Midianites. Now you can study history for a long time, all your life, are wilder, more romantic, more cruel, more fierce people. They practice infanticide. That's where they sacrifice their firstborn to stone statues. They had a Stone Age mentality. I'll tell you what, they were also terrible farmers, terrible merchants, and terrible builders, but they were born warriors. The entire Midianite nation was nomadic. It's one thing for a small tribe of Arabs to be Bedouins in the middle of the desert, but the Midianites were a nation of millions. They lived without huge fortresses, they traveled like a pinball machine, moving from one kingdom to the next. It's an incredible historical experience. They practiced scorched earth policy. You remember when Hitler, in the last days of the war, wanted scorched earth policy for Germany. He said that the German people are not worthy of me, and if we don't survive this war, we shouldn't leave even a piece of bread for our enemies. So he ordered Albert Speer to destroy all the bridges and buildings and leave nothing standing behind. But Albert Speer disobeyed Hitler, and we have today the modern miracle of Germany. So the Midianites conquered and practiced scorched earth policy. They sold off the young as prostitutes and slaves, and they murdered the elderly and those who were useless. They burned the crops, they scorched the land, and they poisoned the wells, and left the land barren. So every year, the Israelis would just have to start over. They dug out the wells, they started sowing seed, they started farming again, and they started hunting the donkeys and the sheep and the cattle to reestablish their herds and flocks all over again. This happened year after year after year. There's nothing more frustrating than having your big brother come into your room and knock down your blocks after you spend 15 minutes stacking them up. And there's nothing worse than having it done every 15 minutes. So year after year, the Midianites arrived like a huge glacier moving across the desert. As far as the eye could see, from horizon to horizon, you would see camels and campfires and tents and cattle and armies of people. Now, in the middle of this scene, God sends an angel to earth to visit a young farm boy. This in the ancient scriptures, it's found in the book of Judges. And it describes this young farm boy as a nobody, a flat zero, big flat zero. This farm boy, whose name was Gideon, even said of himself in these scriptures, of all the tribes in Israel, his was the least. And of all the families in his tribe, his was the least. And of all the people in his family, he was the least. He was hiding in an old abandoned wine press where he kept a little cash of wine and grain, whatever he could gather. And one day, as he was slithering through the rocks and hiding behind the trees, back and forth, coming back to his hiding place, an angel appeared to him under a tree and saluted him like a 5-star general. Hail, O mighty man of valor! God is with you! Then Gideon asks one of the most profound questions man can ask about life and God. And God's answer is considered unsatisfactory by philosophers and theologians. They can't stand it because it's a bit corny. But I'm not going to apologize for God. If God wants to wear white socks, we'll all wear white socks. So what's the question Gideon asks? If God is with us, why do the Midianites come every year and step all over us and treat us as slaves and steal our children and ruin our fields? If God is with us, what would it be like if he wasn't? You'll see in a minute that God's answer really doesn't explain why the Midianites dominate Israel each year, or why your local community struggles with questions like, why was my son shot outside of my own home? Why are there poor people struggling in this community? Why are teenagers getting into trouble with drugs and alcohol at such a young age? Why don't our youth go for higher education to achieve more in life? Why are some high school students reading at 5th grade level? Why do local families keep falling behind with crushing debt? Why are my neighbors afraid to go outside? Why is there no sense of community in my neighborhood? What's God's answer to Gideon's question and our questions? Here it is. Go in your power and save your country. Man, that's thinking big. It doesn't explain at all why the Midianites come every year and dominated Israel. It doesn't explain how to solve the problems that the community faces that Shur serves. But God's answer does incorporate three great principles of life, followed by the Shur team. First principle is go, and it's the principle of action. Now, one of the greatest lines that came out of the Ford presidency, and this is a few years back, was a little human interest story when President Ford was asked the question, what, when you're in a room full of supporters and they give you a lot of money, how do you get out of the room without being rude to them? President Ford had a great line. He said, keep moving, keep moving. If I can keep one foot in front of the other and keep moving, I know there's going to be an automobile door nearby or an elevator door.
That's the
I can shake as many hands as possible and talk to as many people as long as there's movement. I'll soon be behind a couple of doors without being rude.
They ain't got
You
no
can't get
speakers.
it anywhere in
They ain't
life.
got those.
You just sit around and keep moving. Number one principle. Okay, so Shur's response. Why was my son shot to death outside of my home? With the legacy of their murdered son, Sherwood and Martha Evans, take the insurance settlement and plant a ministry and a coffee house right in the epicenter of the crime area of the 900 block of White Horse Road. They pick up the pieces and keep moving. Okay, what's Shur's response? Why are there poor people suffering in the community? Shur has a no community member left behind policy with emergency food programs and transportation services, whatever is needed. Why are teenagers getting into trouble with drugs and alcohol at such a young age? Shur runs a mentoring program such as Midnight Basketball and teaches character-based education and the intervention and substance abuse programs. That's the first principle, go. The second principle in that statement that God made to Gideon says, go in your power. This is the principle of self-esteem and self-reliance. Think just for a minute how incredible this statement was to this young Israeli boy who was the least in his country. He had no self-esteem. Go in my power? What power does he have? What power do you have? I want you to imagine for a moment that before God sent this angel to Gideon, he sat down with the angel and he said, yeah, hey, I'm sending you down. I'm sending you down to talk to this. Yeah, what's his name? Gideon. Oh, yeah. He's kind of, funny little boy, farm boy. He looks like a big flat zero, nothing. But I want you to treat him with respect. And I'll tell you why. In 3 weeks, this young man with 300 men are going to destroy the greatest war machine that the world has ever seen. That young nobody is a conqueror. When the angel greeted Gideon, he saluted the young nobody like he was a 5-star general. Hail, O mighty man of valor! God is with you. What do you see when you look at him? So what's Shur's response? What's Shur's response to why don't our youth go for higher education to achieve more in life? Well, Shur has a workforce and job training partnership with Greenville Technical College with financial aid available. What's Shur's response to why are some of our high school students reading at a 5th grade level? Shur has a program to close the learning gap, reading gap, from infancy to adult, 30 hours, which we talked about. If you're struggling in this, Shur can help. What's Shur's response to why do families keep falling behind with crushing debt? Shur provides financial and personal literacy, personal and financial literacy training. So you got the first 2 principles. The third one, you can see, we have go in your power and save your country. This is the principle of direction and thinking big. Save your country. Man, that is thinking big. There was a little girl in France who was 13 years old. She got so tired of hearing her parents talking about the problems of France. She'd sit around the table and listen to her parents as they were drinking coffee. She would hear stories of torture and misunderstanding and how France was becoming a land of refugees and slaves hauled off to other parts of the world. She'd sit there and cry. One day in social studies classes, everybody was talking about how France was falling apart. She slammed her history book shut and she went home and she looked in the mirror and all she saw was a skinny, pale-faced, 13-year-old girl. I'll tell you what God saw. God saw 2 years later a 15-year-old girl riding a white charger in armor, carrying the nation of France to victorious battle. Tell Joan of Arc you're too young. You don't have any direction or you can't think big enough. Go in your power and save your country. So what's Shure's response? Why are my neighbors afraid to go outside? Why there's no sense of community in their own neighborhood? Shure's response to these questions is to think big and to provide direction through Operation Resurrect. Revitalizing impoverished neighborhood through creating community, unity, economic opportunities, and education. By renovating the old Mustang Bar, that's it right there, into a fully operational coffee house, pizzeria, and training center. It will be the local point of the neighborhood, focal point, and fully sustaining after the first year of operation. $265,000 is being total to renovate the building. Business plans are available to anyone that's interested. Just give me or Martha or anyone here an email address and we'll be happy to send it to you. So the three principles that are incorporated in God's direction to Gideon: go in your power and save your country. The first principle is go. Take action. Keep moving. Don't give up. The second principle is in your power. You got it. You got to believe the face in the mirror. And the third principle is save your country. Listen to God's direction and think big. You know, when children are learning their multiplication tables, it's a lot of fun. And it's kind of crazy how your mind can go blank. And sometimes the numbers pull out of your head and you just can't figure it out. You think you got to go back to third grade. But I can show off in front of my children with zeros. 1 times 0, 0. 9 times 0, 0. 1,256,021 times 0, 0. God times 0, 0. God times 2. You can't put that number on the blackboard. God times 9. We don't have numbers that big. But don't you see, if you don't give life something, if you don't plan anything, you will never give anything back. And even God times 0 is 0. Your generous donations, for sure, are multiplied many, many times over. And it's just, it just is my art. Sure is a continuing mission. That's the best way to put it. With your help of benefiting children, young adults, and their children's children, to stop the poverty and unhealthy thinking and provide opportunity for generations to come. Time to act is now. Thank you very much for your time.
Dave Smythe, thank you so much. Now you did see in one of those slides he referenced the midnight basketball that they do. I believe it's from 9 o'clock to midnight where kids can come, they can play basketball. I think we have a few ballers here tonight. Would one of you like to kind of come up and talk about the experience? If not, you risk being dunked on by me. Going once. Don't be shy. I'll be up here with you if you guys just want to talk about your record, anything like that. Introduce yourself, talk about what Shure's been meant to you. I see you guys looking at each other for some social support. Give them a round of applause. Come on up. Make sure you introduce yourself too.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Angela Johnson, and I serve as the center manager at Mount Pleasant Community Center, where these basketball players supposed to be at tonight. However, they're out here supporting Pastor Evans instead of having midnight basketball. Benjamin, raise your hand. Demetrius, who serves as the counselor there for the night, and Cy, who's also one of the other guys that come out and play basketball during the time. Also, Pastor Evans wanted me to let you all know that since that inception with the midnight basketball, that we've had a decrease in she's also had the opportunity to experience these guys graduating from school, from high school, and going on to college. However, my son Benjamin, he has a mean mama, and mama don't play. But I'm proud of him for coming out here to support his son, Pastor Evans. This is his second year at USC Upstate, so I'm very proud of him. And so Zion's coming on up on the end, and Demetrius is also, he's also one of the workers at Mount Pleasant Community Center. So it's a great program that they do, that Pastor Evans initiated. She took it upon herself and she went to the county council to open up our gym, Mount Pleasant Gym, from 9 to 12 every Friday. It's in stone. Do not call me to read on the Friday night the gym, because I have to tell you no, because that is a very important part of what has made that community where it is today. She has done an absolutely wonderful job. It's been in, I think, since about 2012, I want to say. I'm sorry? 2012. So it's been a great program. And the boys come out every Friday night faithfully, and they play their basketball. Shin and Apostle Evans also do the programs there when they come, and they have the things going on. They have the teaching sessions going on when they come. So it's a great opportunity for the boys to come out and play, and it's a great event. So y'all continue to support, and let's look forward to some great things. And thank you so very much.
Thank you. And you guys probably thought I was joking about the dunk thing. I might be 5'10", but I got ups. Watch out for me now. Friday, 9 o'clock. Well, before we wrap things up, I want to welcome back, I want to bring back Ryan James as we get the invocation ready. Give him a round of applause. Welcome him back up. Share some real thoughtful words and share the story. Appreciate it. Of course, we can get this thing going.
I'd like to thank you all for coming out. Obviously, on behalf of the board members of the Southside Urban Redevelopment, Revitalization, and Development and Economic Corporation, Dave Smythe, Pastor Evans, Captain Hall, we appreciate you all's participation. Let tonight not be an inroad, instead, the start of something new. Let's trend towards something bigger than ourselves. Try to devote ourselves to Pastor Evans' cause. Appreciate everyone who has put into this event. We obviously didn't have the turnout that we expected, but who cares? Right? The fact that we're all here says enough about what this means to us and what we hope to achieve moving forward. Again, I'd like to thank the folks here at Rebel, Howard and his wife Lisa, Brandy, Alex, all those folks who were gracious enough to give us this spot for the night. And folks, in closing, I lost my parents, my dad in March of 18, and in February of 19, my mom. She died of a broken heart, which I didn't know existed until the doctor told me that in the hospital. He said despite her physical ailments, which she was a smoker, he said, Brian, I can't explain this other than to tell you she misses her husband. The two of them, for as long as I can remember, every day of their lives, spent their lives giving back to the people of their community, which ultimately was my community. As I said earlier, I was the beneficiary of hard knocks, as the mother who spoke so eloquently previously said. I was given tough love. I'm no stranger to a belt. I'm no stranger to, a hard knock when it was necessary, and I think I benefited from it. But sometimes in life, you have to take the road less traveled in order to get home. Sometimes trials and tribulation are ultimately your best friend. Any success I've ever had in life, and I don't stand here pretending to be the face of success in Greenville or anywhere else, but anything that I've ever been successful about, I've learned to appreciate the journey as much as I have the end result. I played college football for 4 years at a small school in Pennsylvania, and I graduated with All-American honors, and the honor itself didn't matter to me. What mattered was the two-a-days in August when it's 98 degrees and you're wearing 12 pounds of equipment. What mattered to me was the camaraderie that I had with those guys, the freshman that was 3 years below me, the senior who was a year above me, the sophomore a year below me. We come from different backgrounds, different areas. I'm black, you're white. You're rich and the next guy's poor. Who cares? We're human. And here's what the interesting thing is about being a human. Our destinies are ultimately the same. Ask God, I promise you, He'll tell you. Believe in each other. For this is one community in which we all have to thrive in and succeed in. This is our home now, whether you're from here or not. I come from 700 miles away and I've made this my place of abode. I share the same interests and goals that you all do. Prosperity, success, and opportunity to thrive. And I want to see fellas like these three gentlemen at this table here given every single opportunity that they can possibly receive to have the success that all of us in this room have had. Because at the end of the day, they're what's important. We've all had our paths laid out, or at some point in our lives laid our own paths. But the reality of it is, pay it forward. My favorite thing to do around Christmas time is go to my favorite restaurants, get myself a burger and a soda, and leave a $20 tip. And it's not about the money. I've heard so many stories from these folks about what the struggles they've had. My kid needs this, or I need that. It's an opportunity to show someone and impress upon someone, I get it, I understand. I'm sure most of us in this room don't come from the greatest of wealth or the richest of beginnings. I'm as humble as they come from my beginnings. But I've created a path based on the foundation that was laid for me by my parents, and I've taken an opportunity that they've given me and found a little bit of success in it. It's our turn to build a foundation for these young folks through Pastor Evans and Apostle Sherwood. Give them the opportunity. Go out to your communities when you go home tonight and remind your neighbors, the folks down the street, the guy upstairs who was always stomping on the floor late at night, that, can you help me out? Can you give these guys a shot? Because you got one. Somebody gave you a shot. Pay it forward. Give them a chance. What else is life worth if you can't give someone an opportunity that you've had? I have an opportunity to sit down this coming Wednesday with Pastor Lenny Gaines, who's here. Pastor Lenny Gaines, if you stand up and be recognized briefly. You didn't think I was going to do you justice, did you? But we spoke, and I met him a month ago, and we spoke about, some of the things that, why is our community the forgotten stepchild? Why? Every show you see on TV, cops and live PD, they're constantly terrorizing these underprivileged and underserved neighborhoods. It takes a village to raise a child, right? It also takes a village to dispel those notions, to kick those stereotypes and stigmas to the curb. But you have to stare these adversities in the face. It takes courage, gall. Every day I walk into a courtroom with a criminal defendant. Sometimes I know that this guy is maybe not the best guy on the planet. But when I get to speaking to this individual, I realize there's something deeper wrong with this individual than a burglary or a DUI or an attempted armed robbery or something along those lines. He's had no foundation. There's never been anyone to grab him by the arm and tell him, we're going this way. Because everyone else in this community has constantly told him, go that way. I'm challenging you all tonight to go back to your particular communities. Be that icon. Be that leader. That alpha male, that delta female. Set the example. They'll follow. Because you're you. Give them a chance. Let them prosper. I'll leave you with this. When I was a kid, I used to hate this song. We were in private school, this little private school my parents sent me to, and it was full of kids from the neighborhood that they threw in this. We had to wear these plaid uniforms with these ties. It was gross. It was like a fashion faux pas. There was this song we used to sing, dreams are like seeds, seeds that you sow. Tend them with care and watch how they grow. Dreams make them true for you. Dreams make them true. It's up to you. Help these kids realize their dream, will you? Let's find a way to give Dr. Evans and Apostle Evans the resources they need to build this coffee house and pizzeria. Anyone you know out there that may be willing to help, sponsorships, investments, send them our way. Because without it, you know, the mountain, it just gets steeper. Let's level the playing field. I thank you all for coming out. I hope you've had a great time. Thank you, Teddy Payton, for all your work. And there's a dessert up there, if I understand it, on your way out. And feel free to mingle and socialize. But I really do want to thank you all for coming out. I think that you've all demonstrated that through community work, anything's possible. So I appreciate it. Thank you.